Oh, keep going. Okay, so we have the writing reflexes, yes. What else do we have? AT&R. What else? ST and R. Very good. Because if I wanted to, let's say for example, if I wanted to work on extension of an upper extremity, what might I do? I could either turn the head or I could extend the head. Right? Remember those? Yes? Okay, good, good. What does temperature got to do with anything? If it's cold, what's going to happen? Our muscle tone does what? It increases, right? However, if I'm laying on the beach, what happens to my muscle tone? Yeah, we may have to go watch the beach video here in a little bit. Okay. If I'm in pain, increases tone. Usually starts right here, right? Get the forehead removed. If I have an infection, yeah,
Have inflammation.
yeah, you're gonna have increased tone. If something's wrong, what's your body doing? It's busy working and fighting, right? Here, are you coming down with something? So if there's an infection, if something else is going on, your body's working on that, what's going to happen to the rest of your tone? Okay? Do we need to talk about emotional stress? Anybody look in the mirror some days and go, you know, I used to have a neck, but now my head is just sitting on my shoulders? That's what happens to us. Okay? Do our manual muscle tests have normal tone? No. Why not?
Because they're gonna look more rigid, and they're gonna look like they have more strength than they do, and then you end up dislocating stuff and breaking.
Right. If they have low tone, they can't move against gravity, so what the heck am I trying to even check that? If they have high tone, all I'm doing is setting it off. And when you get to, and we will see this later, when you get to where you can normalize tone, what you will find in somebody with high tone is they generally have a very weak muscle under there. Tone and strength are not the same. We okay? All right. There are some types of tonal things that we're going to be talking about. There can be rigidity. Rigidity is not velocity dependent. What that means is, I can put it on a quick stretch and it's not going to change. When we play with this stuff in labs, it will make a little bit more sense. Okay, we're going to watch a couple of videos here. Hopefully that will help as well. Lead pipe rigidity. What does a lead pipe look like?
Straight to straight.
Right? Okay. We're going to watch that here in just a second. Cogwheel does what? What do you think it does? When you go to stretch, what you're going to get is it'll break, but it's still very high tone. Okay? Technically, probably saying
You know, I've seen it, I didn't know what it was called. That's exactly right. I see that now.
These are two types of brain injuries, and we'll watch the video here in a second. These are bad. Okay, if someone's in cerebral or in decorticate, that is an indicator of serious brain damage. Okay, decorticate is a little bit better in terms of scaling. Okay, But as your upper extremities are in the flexor pattern, your lower extremities are in the extensor pattern. Okay? We will get to what all that is, but uppers in flexors and lowers in extensors. Decerebrate, and this is the way I remember this, has a bunch of E's in it, and everything's in extension.
Say that
Okay.
again, please.
Decerebrate is everything's in extension, uppers and lowers.
An extension.
It is the worst brain damage from the corticate. This is brainstem level stuff.
The corticate is worse.
Decerabrate's worse.
So your corticate was upper inflection and lower.
Again, some of these things may show back up. That's kind of good. So, you can see some of this, you can see some of this stuff. With Parkinson's, you can see it with degenerative things, you can see it with TBIs, encephalitis, tumors, yes.
What kind of tone are you expecting to see? I know they can shake a bit, but they're shaking, but
What ends up happening is they end up trying to fix some of the shaking, so they become higher toned. Okay? So, let's see what lead pipe looks like. We okay so far? This is a fairly hefty lecture. I know we haven't got much into it, but if you don't get the little concepts now, we'll be lost.
Hi, my name is Tamisha. Thanks for coming to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So I'm going to be talking about the difference between rigidity and spasticity and why it's important for occupational therapists to understand the difference between the two so you can properly provide great treatment intervention. Right? Okay, what is it? Rigidity is simply muscle stiffness and resistance against involuntary movement. So think of it this way. You have a spring, and every time you pull that spring apart, it resists you. And every time you try to push it in, it resists you. The same way rigidity works. Now, you'll often see rigidity in patients that have Parkinson's disease. It's important that you do stretching, range of motion, and positioning. When you do stretching, it's important that you target certain areas. These areas are hip flexors, knee flexors, trunk, neck, and your gastrocnemius, which is the big muscle behind your leg. Now keep in mind, with rigidity, it's not dependent on the rate of force because it's a consistent resistance. Think of a cogwheel. A cogwheel will always move in the form of ticks. That is rigidity. Now spasticity, on the other hand, is a little different. Spasticity is muscle stiffness. However, at the end range of a movement, you're going to feel a release.
Okay. Did you get the difference between rigidity and spasticity? Spasticity can be influenced by velocity. Rigidity is not going to be.
Is this part of the difference in the different types of cerebral palsy? Where one has rigidity, one has spasticity, sometimes, not always.
Yeah, because neuro.
Yeah.
So, yes, the more insult you have, the more it's going to be toward rigidity. It would be spasticity. Okay?
Can you explain what that means? Spasticity can be influenced by velocity?
Yes.
What is it in the word influence mean?
If you tend to have a higher tone level, if I do a quick stretch, you're going to tighten right up. Okay, versus a slower stretch, which I can bring you out. Rigidity, if I do a quick stretch or a slow stretch, it ain't going to change. Okay?
She made it sound like a cogwheel was kind of happening with rigidity.
It is a type of rigidity. So, what she showed you there at the end is that rigidity will go throughout the range, okay, even with the cogwheel, right? And spasticity, if you're doing it right, you can eventually get at the end range to where it will completely relax.
That's the last thing she showed us.
Mm-hmm. Okay?
Is it a loosen or?
So rigidity will not, she was not talking about rigidity, but she said it'll finish.
No, spasticity is the one that will, yeah. But there's some tricks to the trade and we'll show you those. That's what we're gonna do in lab this week. So far, so good? Spencer, there's a question mark on your head there.
We're good.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right.
So it's going to be a very tight contraction with spasticity. However, it is dependent on the rate of force. So as you pull the arm down, you'll notice it'll give out a release at end range. So the difference, again, between rigidity and spasticity is rigidity is consistent tightness, whereas spasticity is a release in tightness at end range. Here is the typical position you would see with patients suffering from rigidity. Don't forget to like and share at myotcares.com.
All right. Now, this will show you decerebrate decorticate. She just showed you a picture of it right there, but this one, and it's okay to giggle at the end.
Patient is in the decorticate position with the upper extremities in flexion, lower extremities in extension, reflecting that the brainstem motor centers are working, but we don't have modulation of those centers from the corticospinal tracts and their connections to the brainstem centers. If we now go a step lower as far as the level of dysfunction and eliminate the function of the rubrospinals, we go from decorticate to decerebrate posturing. Lower extremities stay in extension, now the upper extremities are in extension because we don't have any type of regulation or modulation of the vestibulospinal or the reticulospinal tracts, but we've eliminated the influence of the rubrospinal tracts at this point in time. If there's to be further progression and the patient has further deterioration, and we now eliminate the function of the vestibulospinal and the reticulospinal tracts, the patient then becomes flaccid. And dead.
So she went from.
So in progression, flexors in the upper, extensors in the lower, everything goes to extension. And then if they continue to herniate out, which is what it's called, what causes these generally is there is a brain injury, the brain is swelling. Okay. As the brain swells, there's only one place for it to go, right? If someone herniates out and their brain goes down through the foramen magnum there,
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So that's at the atlas and the, yeah, right up in here, it'll just herniate right on there.
which is why they check for pressure. Okay? But you know, when they check for pressure, anybody seen anybody in an acute? Okay. Sometimes they call it a CP bolt. Okay, that all it's in there is, this is horrible. It looks a lot like, or it functions a lot like a tire gauge. Okay, and as the pressure goes up, you see how much pressure there is. Now, we're looking at something that is a little more than the consistency of Jell-O, very thick Jell-O, inside a very enclosed, not smooth space. Okay, so as the pressure goes up, I'm getting more and more brain damage because I have nowhere to go. Okay, you may see some really nasty things like it coming out ears and nose and stuff like that, but